Hi, this is Graham Brown and Eric Tenhaver. Eric, how are you doing?
Fantastic.
Well, great. Maintain that energy level because I've got an athlete now to talk about for us, which,
Oh,
again,
cool.
in the long, illustrious line of sad stories about athletes who went bankrupt.
Right.
And this time, there's an article in the Telegraph this week. None other, would you believe it, than Boris Becker,
Oh, wow.
yeah, Wimbledon champion. And this is the sad thing. He said he had to borrow £2 million, about $3 million in cash, and he may sell his Wimbledon trophies.
Okay.
I mean, let's go back and just rewind a little bit here. Boris Becker, what's your image of Boris Becker from what you remember back in the 80s and so on when he was a champion?
Yeah, he was an unbeatable superstar and quite rose to the top quite quickly, I think, if I can remember it correctly.
Wasn't he the youngest Wimbledon champion at 18 or something?
Something like that, yeah. And his career was not that long. He stopped pretty quickly, too.
Right, but he had a very successful Wimbledon career as well as tennis. I mean, he won Wimbledon 3 times.
Yes.
So that puts him in an exclusive club. And how much he got in sponsorship. I mean, you can imagine being 18 or 19 years old or even in your 20s and being Wimbledon champion. You must have had millions thrown at you, right? I mean, sponsors would be queuing up to put their logo on your shirt or whatever. But here's the sad thing, right? He ends up with £54 million of debt. So that's about $80 million.
Wow.
I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, yes, he had a divorce in there, which didn't help things.
Yeah, that basically got rid of half of his wealth, probably.
Right. But half of what was an alleged £35 million or $50 million is still several million, isn't it?
Yes.
But he had, according to the article, a number of failed business ventures. His assets dwindled from £35 million to just around about $500,000 at the end of the day, which is really sad if you think about it. And you got to ask yourself, how could that happen? I mean, how could this happen? He was a smart guy. What do you think the answer is?
Well, I sort of have the feeling that this is a different story than the Mike Tyson story. Don't you think so? I mean, if you are in the superstar spending everything everywhere very obviously kind of league, then it's easy to see how your extravagant lifestyle is basically sucking up all the money you've made.
Yeah.
But in his case, well, I think the reports do say he has nice houses and stuff like that, but he was not a show off to the outside world, I think.
Yeah.
So something else
He
must have
wasn't
gone
buying
wrong here.
the Bengal tigers, right?
No, that's right. So he didn't have the tigers. And like you said, I would take him for a bit smarter guy than Mike Tyson. No offense to Mike Tyson, but I think he seemed to be he had a good set of brains, I think. And he was like coaching other tennis players, and he was in the sports, and he was active. He was not like completely retired and blowing all his money away. So either what could have happened, I mean, this is all speculation, but what could have happened, of course, is at that point where he didn't have any active income coming in, he would then have to become an investor. And I think that's quite tough. I mean, I've been in that same situation whereby if you think that you're able to... I mean, my active life was running businesses and building companies. Once that stopped in 2011 for myself, I thought, okay, I'm just going to invest in startups. But that's a completely different game, right? So in his case, he was an active tennis player, rolling in a lot of money in sponsorships and in trophies and in prize money, an active income that would stop when he would stop working. But then the mentality needs to change, right? He needed to become an investor or at least somebody that manages his money wisely and carefully. And that takes a shift in mindset, and it takes a shift in skills. And if you're not conscious and aware of it, that might be very dangerous. If you're trying to apply the same stuff that you were using when you were a top tennis player, those skills and that knowledge and the network and the people need to change, because you're now in a different game. You're not in the game of hitting balls across the net for a couple of $1,000s a hit. You're now in the game of managing your money. And maybe that's what happened. Maybe he didn't realize it quick enough that his skills and his mindset and his network needed to change.
Yeah, I think you're on the case there. The article does allude to the fact that there were several failed business ventures.
So and some of those just one, partners. Basically.
Yeah, exactly. And he is quoted as owing, just over £30 million to his long-term business advisor.
Oh.
What kind of advisor would take them for that kind of money?
Right.
I think that's the problem, isn't it? Is that, and it goes back to one of the things we talk about. Firstly, that having any amount of money, whether it's 50,000 or 50 million in a bank account, won't make you financially independent, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't have the skills to be able to deal with it. And the second thing is that you have to learn how to make this and manage this money, and it's not something that comes with education in the traditional sense, because Boris Becker obviously can't do it, but Arnold Schwarzenegger can.
Yes.
What's the difference between these two people? What do you think? I mean, they both didn't go to university. They both didn't come out with, honors or whatever. And they didn't come from illustrious professional families. So why is one able to do it successfully and the other not?
I guess the key will be in the people that were of influence to them when they were young. And I can imagine Becker being, trained as a professional athlete. So all the focus on the coaching and the mentoring and the training is on getting him to be the tennis superstar that he was. While Schwarzenegger probably had the luck of being in touch with people that were maybe wealthy, were rich, were well off, and maybe he learned a few lessons from them and saw early on that the wealth created by those guys was created through property and real estate, right?
Yeah, that's the big difference, I think. Yeah, and as we said in the Arnie episode back in, I can't remember which episode, but if you go back through the archives, you can see it there. The first thing he did when he got to California was the money he was making from building walls. He started buying real estate, right?
Yeah.
And even though that may have been $10,000, it got him in there. And he said that he didn't then need to be successful in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting, because then you can take big gambles on what you want to do and, what you want to do with your future, right? Whereas Boris Becker wasn't investing in real estate. He was just buying bigger homes.
Yeah. No, I think there's the lesson here from Becker is, that's what we're trying to teach. Get educated, understand how things work, and then with the money that you have spare, start your journey on this path. But start it as soon as you can, because there's learning to be done. And if you're like Boris Becker from one day to the other, you're without active income, and you then need to start managing your money, and you get the wrong advisors in and things like that. Things can go wrong very quickly. So the learning, I think, is important. So that's why I think start early on with your property journey, with your investments, to learn and to grow, and not be depending on your retirement to go and start figuring out what you're going to do with your money.
Yeah, and we don't care who you are. I mean, you could be an MBA, you could be some clever Google engineer, or you could be a 6-time Grand Slam champion. It doesn't matter. You just get out there and learn this stuff, because all of that doesn't mean anything when it comes down to financial intelligence.